Okay, so we're going to talk about this. I'll connect back. I just wanted to sort of put that out there because probability is tough for us, and you've got to work at it, right? You've really got to work at it to develop an intuition. Okay, so this is the wealth distribution piece, and so you did this, right? These are the extremes. Money is belief. And so this is from a study. So it's back in 2011. It's Mike Norton and Arley. And so they surveyed a bunch of people, and this is what they came up with for their quintiles, right? So this is averaged over all of them. And I had the averages at the top of those things, but those bars were pretty small. So this is the actual, and this is for 2000, I think, the US in 2007 or 8, right? So it's not up to date. I tried to find some new data, but I couldn't really get to it very easily. So that'll be nice to find some. So this is the actual data state of the US. So the top, this is 190, right? So it's close to 84% maybe of the wealth is owned by the top 20, or was at that point. The next 20% had about 10% of the wealth, and the third 20%, maybe less than, maybe 4%. And then the bottom 40% are here, that's their line, right? So relatively, they're off the thing. So even you guys who had the most drastic ones probably didn't get the bottom 40. Well, some of you did, right? Not shown, basically. And these are the estimated ones, so people were, they understood it was skewed, but this is a fair way off. This chunk is bigger than this one, this is certainly bigger than this one, and these ones exist. Right? So this is the bottom 20% would have maybe 3%, the next 20%, yeah.
Does this count a mortgage as a debt?
That's a good question. I wonder what they did. Yeah. So we'd have to look at the paper to see what the data they used was doing, because debt is a very complicated piece here.
Like the middle, whatever percent of your asset is
Yeah.
debt, but it's value on it.
Right. Yeah, so they never, so that'll be a good thing to fix up with it. It just doesn't, right? Which seems super wrong and weird, so. Yeah. Did you look at this study in particular? Or you know that in general that's the way it's done, right? Yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah. This is what they did. It would be assets, yeah? Yeah, okay, yeah. All right. Well, we could look up the paper, but let's take all this time. Saying wealth, it's going to be a little complicated. All right. Okay, I'm gonna have to look at that properly.
Yeah, I'm sure it doesn't make that much of a difference.
Well, I mean, you're right. It is a big issue. I mean, debt's just not. See, a lot of these size distributions really, they need things to be greater than 0 as well, right? So there's a problem with negatives.
So they have it right here.
Okay, what's it say?
It says wealth, also known as net worth, is defined as the total value of everything someone owns minus any debt that he or she owes. A person's net worth includes his or her bank account, savings, plus the value of other things such as property, stocks, bonds, art, etc.
Well, let's look at it later on to see, because they must have done something with negative, right? Because I don't know if they.
Yeah, so
I don't know if they did that.
if people are like underwater on their mortgage, that's a negative.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah,
they're
it's a
positive on it, if they owe less than the property's worth, that's a positive asset.
All right. Well, let's move on. We'll see if we can figure this out properly later on. But so these are the estimated ones, and this is what people thought was the ideal. So the really interesting thing I think is on the next page. So the ideal, of course, is really ridiculously even. This is not Scandinavia. This is beyond Scandinavia. I think this is just not something that happens in natural systems where money is involved. If it was like actual physical things, it might be harder. But this is people were pretty good at getting gold together. Okay, so really, very different. And then there's this, right? So they separate out people by their income here, whether they voted for Bush or Kerry. So these was 2004. 2004 was sort of the last time they had a vote for them. Men versus women, and then here. So these are the actual, again at the top. These are the estimated ones, and then the same groupings with their ideals. And so the interesting thing here, right, is that they're really pretty consistent across these different groups. They skew in ways that make some sense, right? So the wealthier people tend to have a little bit more of a skew this way. Maybe, Republican voters were a little, actually this is their estimated, right? So that's a bit funny. The Democrats think it's worse. But when it gets to what they think should be right, it goes the other way. Although, these are basically, not very different. And it's a funny question to ask. The quintile thing, generally pushes their view of things, maybe their political views away a little bit, and they're just trying to figure out something that's a bit odd. But yeah, remarkable consistency really across what you might think could be different groups of people. Okay.